Well, AEW continues to throw in a fantastic show every Wednesday on Dynamite, but we also got three more shows, past events from three different promotions from Japan. First one we got is All Japan Pro Wrestling with their Summer Action Series. This is back in July for day one. We even got Stardom. This one is called the Golden Week Fight Tour that took place in early May. And finally, Dragon Gate Glorious Gate on day four that took place this past March. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that it's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay right here. So, let's begin with the latest AEW Dynamite show. It opened up with, of course, CM Punk coming out to join the commentary, but of course, he had to greet his loving fans, those who stood by him after all these years. But it was great. Now, our opening match is the in-ring debut of Adam Cole taking on the Elite Hunter Frankie Kazarian. I have to say, the match was pretty good. It did showed a lot of expectations because we need to see more of what Adam Cole can do. And I think there was a lot of things that people said about him. You know, he's talented. He's very good what he can bring into the table. But of course, his finisher, the Tequila Sunrise, and the final shot or whatever he calls it, ended the match. However, he put out a promo during the post match where he seems that he has a grudge against three individuals. We're talking about Christian Cage and two members of the Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. So it appears now it's been teased that he and the Bucks, who back in ROH are known as Super Click, are back together. Now reports did came in that Super Click is now being trademarked for the name. Now you probably ask yourself, weren't they trademarked this name long ago? They did. I even tried to buy a shirt from that, but this happened right when Adam Cole already left for WWE 4 years ago. But we'll see what happens. But however, in response to this challenge, Christian Cage, along with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, gladly accepted, and they took a punchline, which we all know that AEW Dynamite has been successful against NXT. So basically, they're saying that, and now that's gonna be, but it's gonna take place on the Rampage Grand Slam, not this coming Rampage, but the following week. So that is going to be an awesome one. And from what I understand, it's a 2-hour show, and I can't wait to see that. Now, as you know, Fuego del Sol is the latest addition that they hired for AEW. It turns out he decided to make another bet. This time, he put his brand new car on the line against Miro. So it looks like he wants another shot of the TNT title. But also, Miro, in response, did not take it lightly. But however, Miro will teach him a lesson as he will feel the wrath of the Redeemer. Now, as you know, MJF has been a sleazeball, the salt of the earth. He comes out with Wardlow and decided to disrespect people. But of course, Brian Pillman tried to lay out a trap against MJF, but it barely worked. But no, Wardlow showed up, and apparently MJF and what's his name, Wardlow, ran to the hills. But they later did show a clip where Jim Ross were talking. If you guys know this or not, Jim Ross and Brian Pillman, his dad, were very good friends, and it kind of felt like full circle. But this time, Brian Pillman Jr. has one mission on his mind is to take down MJF. But we'll see what happens. I think that's going to take place either on this coming uh, Dynamite on at the Arthur Ashe Stadium. But if it is, it's going to be awesome. Now, next match we got FTR along with Tully Blanchard taking on Matt Sydal and Matt Dante Martin. It was a really fun match. As you know, Dante Martin continued to impress us with his high flying skills. And if you know, they are taking on a team that is more of old school, kind of like, you know, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard back in the day. And that's always been a good thing because it brings back the old school feel that we all hear, that hear about or talk about, you know, in any part of history. But but it was FTR that picked up the victory when they pinned Dante Martin, and that is a very good thing to watch. Now, you may have heard of the Suzuki incident. Now, some of you are saying, "What happened? That something happened to Minoru Suzuki backstage?" No. This is what they reiterate: never interrupt the theme song to Minoru Suzuki. You guys know what I'm talking about. Apparently, if you have noticed in this past week on Dynamite, last week with Dynamite, it was cut off. And apparently, I saw this on Twitter earlier in the day, where Emi Sakura asked him, "What is the deal with the Suzuki incident?" And he responds, "What's that?" And Emi's like, "I don't know." So I think they're trying to make a joke out of it or whatever. But however, Lance Archer did state it out that he and Suzuki are going to challenge John Moxley, and of course that's what they want. As you know, Lance Archer it will always be a member of Suzuki-gun, and this is going to be some kind of a Suzuki-gun reunion, and I can't wait to see that. And I think that's going to take place on the 22nd of September at the Arthur Ashe Stadium. Now, Malachi Black shows up to do a little promo. He decides to say that there's an enemy in their midst, and it turns out to be Rosario Dawson, who was wearing a nightmare jacket. Apparently, Malachi did not like that, so Rosario stood her ground against him. But out of the blue, out of nowhere, here comes Cody making his return to finish off what he started with Malachi. But Rosario got involved, tried to do what she can to hurt him, but the entire brawl went all the way to the back, and I don't know how far it was. But we are expecting to see those two to face off the following week. Now, as you know, also we have is Anna Jay, who on the other hand has a match in this coming Friday at Rampage against the Bunny. However, once again, the dissension between the Dark Order continues. It's still divided, but however, Anna Jay said she does not want none of these guys involved. But the only person I think she would probably have is Tay Conti, because she is completely not involved in either of these two guys' teams fighting each other. Then once again we get that idiot Dan Lambert talking about what pro wrestling should be, how stupid it has become, that sort of thing. But all of a sudden here comes Jericho. He even tried to stop the music, but the fans, they're die hard. They sang the music without the audio. But of course, he issued a challenge against the Men of the Year. And of course, Jericho gave some promising threat, but he did point it out to Lambert. Jake Hager is undefeated in MMA. And he's right, he's undefeated. And I don't think none of his guys from American top team can beat him. But we'll see what happens then. Now, Jade Cargill's next match is against Layla Hirsch. As you know, this was something that was planned. But I think in this match, it told a story how Jade Cargill probably did not anticipate Layla Hirsch to be a bit more feisty than any other person that we expected. So practically it showed, okay, maybe Jade Cargill underestimated the size of her, even though she won the match. But I don't think she should have realized, never underestimate someone who's smaller than her. Now, as you know what happened this past Rampage episode, Chavo Guerrero screwed up. Jose, the interpreter, snitched out on Chavo, told Andrade the truth, what happened. Andrade did not like that whatsoever, so he said that his services is no longer required. But however, I did mention there is a chance we're going to see someone make his appearance, and I'm talking about Ric Flair. But it's been reported that Ric Flair has been spotted in the AEW backstage. But the only question remains, when will he make his debut in AEW? That's a question that remains open for all of us to find out in down the line. Now, as you know, Taz decided to take his frustrations out of Punk. Now, Punk did not mention Team Taz whatsoever, but he decided to start stirring things up. But of course, Team Taz decided to lay up a trap against Punk, and Hobbs played that part where he attacked him from behind and chokeslammed him in the commentary section, thinking that he got what he wanted. But Punk will get his bit. But here's the thing, I have that distinct feeling, I don't know if you guys can feel it too, that Brian Cage is going to side with Punk and help him out to deal with Team Taz. That's what I would think it's going to happen. But this is going to be fun to watch. Now our next match is Shawn Spears along with Tully taking on Darby Allin and being accompanied by Sting. This match was great. It showed how much, of course, Shawn Spears thinks he is a far more better person than Darby. He even wiped out the paint face off his face. But however, it was, of course, the coffin drop to finish off. But apparently, it did not end right there. FTR shows up and attacks Sting. And of course, Tully did the one thing he wanted, is to wipe out the face paint out of Sting. So it looks like this is going to be a feud coming up. And now it's been told Sting and Darby will take on FTR. Now, this next segment is one of my favorite moments. Tony Schiavone invites Bryan Danielson down to interview. But however, he was interrupted by none other than that weasel, Don Callis. And of course, Punk told him off twice, calling him he's a piece of shit and all this. But however, what I did like is what Bryan said, that of course he didn't come here for a title shot. He wants to give the people what he wants. A dream match, basically a one-on-one match, non-title. But of course, he said, I've been hearing all these stories about you, but what I see now, you're hanging out with a bunch of goofy stooges. And Kenny took offense to that. However, he even told him that, he is listening to Don Callis. And that's kind of like saying you're weak because of that. But he did tell him, he heard rumors that people say you missed a step, that you got a little sloppy. But he said something that really, really got him going. He's saying, I think you just lost your balls. And I think it showed Kenny. This is not about a title. This is about who is better. But against Don Callis' advisement, he took the shot and decided, I accept the challenge. This is the last thing Don Callis wants, because this is not about the title. And I think it played out. Now, many fans are talking about how this is going to play out. They're talking about Hangman Page possible coming back. That is one of the things we probably could expect. Now, our main event is Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley taking on 2.0. But once again, they attacked him once they were getting close to the ringside. But however, the match went exactly as it's supposed to be. Moxley took out one member of 2.0, allowing them to win. However, we just saw the return of Minoru Suzuki, but he had another plan of his own. He brought Lance Archer to deal with Kingston, so the whole thing continued with the brawl between both teams. So this is going to take place next week, and I can't wait to see Suzuki-gun taking on Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. So I think that's pretty much it right now. So let's move on with All Japan Pro Wrestling. Alrighty, so right now we got All Japan Pro Wrestling. This is from their previous event back in early July, part of the Summer Action Series. This is day one. There was only 6 matches, but one title match involved in this one out of the 6. It was pretty good. So let's go from the beginning to the end. Opening match was uh, Rei Sato and Jun Sato taking on Ryuki Honda and Quiet Storm. Now, I have seen Ryuki Honda many times when he teams up with Yoshitatsu, but Quiet Storm, no, I haven't seen him. But to me, when I look at the Rai and Jun Sato, I think they're more like the young boys, basically still on the learning curve. But however, it was Quiet Storm who actually pulled off the victory for his team, and I think it showed that he is a wrecking force. Basically, he's like a very weirdo, a very strong dude. So I think that's what plays out pretty well on this match. Next match is a 6-man tag team match where we have from various different wrestlers. First team we got Atsuki Aoyagi, um, Yasutaka Oesera, and Soshi Ushida taking on Andy Wu, Hikaru Sato, and Akira Francisco. I have to say the match was pretty well, but practically, from what I can see in this match, they were all junior heavyweight contenders, and the way I see it, because I know some of these guys who participated in the tournament, but it was Akira Francisco who picked up the victory when he put um, Osare, in the submission, forcing him to tap out. Next match we have is Purple Haze, Utamaro, and Izanagi taking on Takao Omara and Yoshitatsu. Now this was a very interesting dynamic because um, Izanagi and Otsaru, they rarely team up. Normally I see Izanagi on his own or something else, but it did played out very well with these two teams the way I see it. And what else I can say? But I think it was pretty good. But however, it was Yoshitatsu who picked up the victory for his team when he pinned Izanagi for the match, and basically Purple Haze came up short on this one. However, the next match we have is Koji Iwamoto taking on the leader of Purple Haze, Zeus. This was more of the battle between junior heavyweight and heavyweight contender. Now, the only weapon that's the junior heavyweight contender has is his speed. But however, when it comes to a powerhouse like Zeus, that's a different story. Basically, he's already finished, and you can tell right from there it was Zeus who put um, Iwamoto in a submission, forcing him to tap out. That's what made this match very simple and very easy. The next match is Shotaro Ishino teaming with Evolution's Dan Tamura and Suwama, the former Triple Crown champion, taking on Total Eclipse members Odoku Omori, Yosuke Kodama, and of course the current Triple Crown champion Jake Lee. I have to say this match was a bit of a something. I think many fans were disappointed that Suwama wasn't around to challenge Jake Lee, but however, hopefully we get to see that. If that comes out, but it showed pretty well. It was well received, but it was Suwama who picked up the victory when he pinned Omori into this match, allowing for himself to win this match for his team. So he may be on the hunt for that title, but we'll see when that day comes. Now our main event is for the World Tag Team titles. This is from Next Realm, Yuma Aoyagi and Kento Miyahara taking on Total Eclipse, Koji Doi, and Kuma Arashi. This is one of those matches that tells us that Total Eclipse are being the most dominant force. But however, in this one, Yuma, he put up an amazing front in order for these guys not to win the titles, and that's exactly what he did. He put up a straight face no matter what, and he just continued on regardless of how much powerful these guys can be. And it was a pretty good match. I enjoyed it, and he and Kento Ihara retained as the champions, and I'm very happy for that. So it's pretty good. I like it so very much. Okay, so we got Stardom, the number one Yoshi promotion that I love watching. They had a previous event early May called uh, Golden Week Fight Tour. This is day one. They did 3 shows out of it, so this is day one out of 3 days. It opened up with Lady C versus Hina versus Saya Kamitani. Now, keep in mind, Hina and Saya Kamitani are part of the same faction, Queen's Quest, or as they call themselves, QQ. This was more of a handicap match, but however, there were moments in this match where both Hina and Saya Kamitani are, of course, how do I put this, face off each other. But Lady C continues not winning a match, but she does put up a great performance. Hina, on the other hand, is one of the most. She does have a judo background like her sisters, both Rina and Hanan. However, it's Saya Kamitani, who we all know she's a fantastic wrestler, one of the most well over the top, and of course, this is something you definitely would love to see. So it was Saya Kamitani who picked up the victory when she pinned her teammate Hina to allow the win on this one. The next match, we got Rina from Odatai taking on the Red Belt champion and, of course, member of Queen's Quest, Utami Hayashishida. As you can guess, this is one of those matches where Rina, she was no match for Umatami, who's been considered many people to this day as one of the best wrestlers in the Yoshi promotion, or the best female wrestler, however you want to put it. And of course, it was her who picked up the victory on this one. The next match is a 6-woman tag team match. We got DDM versus, consistent of Himeka, Maika, or Natsupoi, or as like they call themselves, Him, My Boy, taking on Cosmic Angels, Unagi Sayaka, Mina Shirakawa, and Tam Nakano. Now keep in mind, the Cosmic Angels are to this day also the current Artist Belts, the Artist of Stardom Champions, which is the Trios Belt. The match was pretty well, but however, the result changed to this different speculation. It was Himeka who picked up the victory, allowing for her team for a chance for another crack of the Artist of Stardom belts. But the reason this has happened, Natsupoi, who used to be friends with, wants to stop Cosmic Angels from having a defense record. Now, the defense records are right now is very interesting. Right now, they have 8 title defenses they defended completely without losing the titles. However, if they go 2 more, they become. But if you guys ever seen how Cosmic Angels responds to people challenge them for these titles, they never back down. They know what's at stake, and they're willing to put everything on the line, and that's what they will do on this one. And I think this one was going to take place later on, which I'm close catching up. The next match, we got Odatai Ruka, Konami, and Natsuko Tora taking on their longtime rivals, Stars, Hanan, Starlight Kid, and Mayu Iwatani. As you know, Odatai are trying to destroy Stars in every aspect, and are hoping to snatch another edition from Stars to convert into Odatai. But however, in this particular match, it was Mayu Iwatani who picked up the victory, but the feud with Odatai is far, far from over. Our main event is the Goddesses of Stardom title, which is the tag team title with Queen's Quest, Azumi, and Momo Watanabe, or as they like to call themselves, Momo Azi, taking on DDM's Julia and, of course, Sarui. It was a good match. It showed a lot of how Julia did say that they want to take the tag team division in Stardom to a whole different level, and they kept up that part of the bargain, and I think it's going to be a great addition. Uh, it was a good show. I enjoyed it, especially the main event was good. I like it, and the storylines with of course DDM's him my boy and the Cosmic Angels is good. So I can't wait to continue on with more of these, and that will be for another time. But at this moment, let's move on with the final review. This is from Dragon Gate, Glorious Gate. Okay, this is Dragon Gate right now. First things first, I want to apologize with people in advance. If there's some days that don't add up because I'm skipping them, like let's say day 5 or day 7, I skip those. Reason is Watch Pro Wrestling does not the whole thing. I don't have the net pay for the network on this. I watch it on that with that link. So I apologize in advance for that because that's what I've been following with Dragon Gate. The event is called Glorious Gate. This took place on the 14th of March, so I'm way behind on that. This is day 4. It opened up with the natural vibes consistent of Suzumu, Yokozuki, and KZ taking on Kagetora and Benkei. It was a pretty good match because it showed Kagetora teaming up with Benkei. I'm going to spoil this for all of you. Kagetora at the time and during this one, he was not affiliated with any faction. But spoiler alert, Kagetora is now currently a member of High End, which is Benkei's faction that he's with, along with Yamamoto, Dragon Kid, and of course Konosuke Okuda. So I don't know when I'll see that when he joins, but I hope I get to see it sooner once I catch up with everything with Dragon Gate. But like I said, the match was pretty good. It was KZ who pinned Kagetora in order to win the match. I thought it was a pretty good one, like any other match we've seen. Now this next match is a singles match. This is more between friends, one's teammates, one's allies, comrades, however you want it. Yusuke Satomura taking on UT, who is currently with the Natural Vibes. Now, these two guys known each other before. They were part of the same faction known as Tribal Vanguard, but that faction was dissolved when, of course, what's their name? Kai and BB Hulk turned their backs on them, and of course, they ended up in the Dragon Gate generation. But right now, UT does consider Yusuke Santamaria a friend, but the real question is, will he or she will end up in a faction? I don't know. That all depends who would accept her. That's the way. If you guys want to know, Yusuke Satomura is an exotico wrestler. Basically, he's a man dressed up as a woman. So that's the kind of thing that happens. The next match we had Team Boku, consisting of Punch Tominaga, Ryu Saito, and Bokitimo Dragon taking on RED's Dai Inferno, Diamante, and Eita. Now, for a while now, Diamante has been trying to get Bokutimo Dragon to accept the challenge, mask versus mask. Now, Bokutimo wasn't going to accept it, but apparently this match kind of overturned that because Diamante is determined to take off his mask. Now, a while back, he was talking to a dragon. It was still unclear, was it him or was it Ultimo? It was still unclear, but it was clear now it was Bokutimo. However, Bokutimo, Team Boku did not win whatsoever, but they were forced. Of course, Bokutimo Dragon was forced to accept the challenge no matter what. The next match we have is a tag team match. We got Yasushi Kanda and Kenichiro Aire taking on Takashi Yoshida and Don Fuji. This match was a hard-hitting match, but however, somehow Kenichiro was able to pick up the victory when he pinned Yoshida, allowing himself for a future tag team titles, which is the Twin Gate titles, where it's Yoshida and Mochizuki who are the current Twin Gates champion. So don't know when that will happen, but it will happen soon than we think. Next match we got is High End Konosuke Okuda, Dragon Kid, Yamato taking on RED, SB Kento, Kaito Ishida, and Kai. Now keep in mind there's a feud between from two sides. We have SB Kento and Kai who hate their guys. Kai hates Yamato. SB Kento has been torturing Dragon Kid for a long time. But this match proved otherwise, where Yamato somehow was able to pick up the victory. But however, their dead or alive show where this is going to be an interesting event that's going to take place down the line. Now, the main event, we have Masquerade, consistent of Jason Lee, Kota Minoura, and who else? Estrella and Shun Skywalker taking on RED members, consistent of what is it? Hip Hop Kikuta, BB Hulk, Hayo, and of course Kazuma Santomoto. As again, they know RED likes to cheat their way to truth, and that's exactly what they did. But however, in the end of the match, Kazuma Sakamoto became the next challenger for the Open the Dreamgate Championship, which is currently being held by none other than, of course, Shun Skywalker. But I'm assuming because there was no English commentary, he accepted the challenge and he's willing to take on another member of RAD. He already defeated Eita, he already defeated Ishida. Now this is the next person that wants to challenge him. But we'll see what happens. I know I'll catch up eventually with this one. But for now, let's just end it right here for that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Coming up, we got, of course, NXT UK, Impact Wrestling, but I'm also going to throw in two past events. One, GCW versus Horror Slam. This took place in the early September, and of course, a past event from last June by Ice Ribbon, new Ice Ribbon number 1129. After the Rain Ribbon, goodbye our Matsuya Uno. So this is going to be an interesting event to watch. So, and this will be the last Ice Ribbon show that I will be reviewing. There's no other ones on Watch Pro Wrestling, but we'll see what happens then. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.